All right, what's happening, guys? Welcome to the James Hogan podcast. Today, we have special guest Matthew Rivera. Matt, how we doing?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Happy Monday. So, for the listening audience, Matt is a real estate investor, fix and flip on Long Island, as well as nationwide multifamily investor. He is the owner of the Inspection Boys, which is a big company on Long Island. I'm not sure if you guys are anywhere else, but I mean, they do continuing education classes. They do like I get their email blast, so that it's a business with systems involved. Just an overall entrepreneur and owner of the Main Street Success real estate coaching business. So Matt, you got a lot going on.
Some days I do. Yes.
How you doing this Monday? You busy? What's going on?
Yeah, I'm a little busy today. Been trying to hit the gym in the morning, get that out of the way, and
Nice.
then start working on everything else. Um, get Monday mornings, I try to line everything up, line the week up. So I'm here, I'm with you. I basically banged out half of my day already, so I'm doing pretty good.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I love that, man. And listen, I appreciate your time today. So thank you. So I met Matt at the Long Island Real Estate Investor Association. There was just an event, and he was one of the panelists speaking on that. So, Matt, how would you get into the real estate game? How'd you get into the business?
Um, I always loved real estate. In high school, I remember everyone always saying, "Oh, real estate, real estate, real estate." And I bought my first house 19 years old.
Oh, wow. What were
So
you
I
doing?
guess
What were you doing at 19 that you could buy a house?
I worked as a lineman, worked for the power company.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a good job.
Good year.
PSEG?
I was a subcontractor, so I worked for like Hawkeye and Asplin. But
Got
it
it.
was
Okay.
same union. My dad worked for PSEG. Yeah, good money, real good money. Right out of high school, you went through the apprenticeship. Best job in the world. I actually loved the job. So I bought my first house at 19. And then I always just loved hearing stories about people buying investments, all people's grandparents. Oh, I bought this at, 1940 for, 19 grand. So I got motivated by that. And then I found a house in Pennsylvania and bought a second house and kind of saved up for a third and fourth. And then it kind of just kept rolling from there.
That's incredible. So most people that I meet get into real estate by getting their real estate license, but you didn't do that. You just jumped right in. You started buying deals.
Yeah, yeah. I never wanted to become a real estate agent, just because I didn't like the sales dealing with people. I'm more of the construction side. I like the hands-on fix, flip construction side. So that's why I went into home inspections.
Makes
Um,
sense. Okay.
like I knew me and my personality, and I just never wanted to be the salesperson. So I
Yeah.
went the other route. But yeah, I got in. Like I said, my first house in Pennsylvania, I had the goal. I was like, we're gonna buy this house, we're gonna fix it up, we're gonna rent it, we're gonna Airbnb it, and it didn't work like that. I bought it, I fixed it up, and my wife fell in love with it, and we were never able to rent it out.
Oh, you moved into it.
We didn't move. Well, we kept it as a second home.
Got
We
it. Okay. What
but
was
we,
it in like what's that place in Pennsylvania everyone goes for
the
vacation?
Poconos.
Was it in the Poconos?
Yeah, it was in the Poconos.
Got it.
It took a lot of work. I mean, we went up there every weekend for probably 4 months, painting, spackling, heat, windows, doors. I mean, we did everything. And by the time we were done, we just loved the house so much. She was like, "No one's sleeping in my bed. No one's doing this." So I kind of had to reset, and I'm like, "Damn, what am I gonna do?" It was a good lesson though, because then I was like, you know what? The next house I buy, I'm gonna make sure I rent it before we even stay in it.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't be showing wifey, if you buy a house in like Miami or something, she's gonna be wanting to have that
Yeah,
too,
well,
you know?
the next time we bought a house in Florida, and I had it rented before we looked at it.
Yeah, that makes sense. I actually, just so you know, I'm expanding my game. So just so you know, so I've been a broker in Long Island for about 7 years now, and I'm actually keeping my house in West Hampton and moving to Tampa just to be a full. I'm getting my license, but I'm just going to be a full blown real estate investor, straight up. Like, I don't want to
I
be
love it.
I don't want to have to hold my tongue. I don't want to have to, sell the people like you said. I want to be able to speak my mind. I want to be able to just because my goal was always to own 100 units, and it's actually gone up since then. So it's always been to just have my rentals take care of me, right? But getting just so, I'm a broker in the Hamptons, so the checks are pretty big. It becomes, you get caught in the hamster wheel of that. So I was never making moves on my investing business. You know what I mean? So
See
like,
that?
yeah, you can see how that could happen,
I
right?
could see that. I mean, they're nice checks out there. I definitely could see that.
Yeah, and it's high, and it's higher percentage too. So the average check is 4%. That's why I came out here, because I started in like West Islip. That was my first couple deals. My first house I sold was my dad's girlfriend's house, and then it kept, then I door knocked the neighborhood, sold a bunch, and then I sold a house in Hampton Bays, and it was like $1 million house, and I got a 2.5% on the buy side, and I was like, wait, these are higher priced houses, and the percentage is higher. I was like, I'm done.
Yeah.
Up Island, I'm out. I'm in the Hamptons. So that's what I did. And but yeah, basically, so like 2 months ago, I've been like dealing with all these wholesalers down there. My dad lives on the west coast of Florida, so I'm familiar with like the between Tampa and Naples area.
Yeah.
So I just kind of built out a team of like contractors, inspectors, realtors, all that stuff. And then just was looking, wholesalers are big. And then I just started looking for deals on the West Coast. And then I finally found one. And I was like, and I didn't even have the private money raised yet. I didn't have the hard money in place. But I basically said, fuck it. I was like, I'm going in. I know I could raise the money. I have everything lined up. Let's just send it. So put the deal in contract. Anyway, long story short, got private money, and now we own the house, and now there's a tenant in there, and we're getting them out amicably. It's not like a eviction process. So we're getting them out, and then we're gonna either burr the house, so fix it up, refi our money out, keep a tenant in there, and move on to the next one, or we're gonna flip it. You know what I mean?
Wow. Congrats. Florida's definitely one of the hotter markets I like. There's opportunity there, like not like here in New York.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. There's deals out there. It's cheaper. The weather's nice. It's landlord friendly, which is huge for me. And because I've seen people as a broker, I mean, I had a house in West Islip. I had a guy I used to bartend with. So I'll tell you a quick story about New York real estate. I had a guy I bartended with at Cheesecake Factory before I mean, I dropped out of college by choice, but this was like, I was like going to Suffolk and I was trying to get my degree. And I bartended this guy, super nice guy. And we connected later on Facebook because he wanted to sell his home. This was during COVID, so he couldn't bartend because restaurants were closed. And then he had a tenant in his main house, and then he had an apartment in the house. He was living in the apartment and counting on the income from the house, right? So now this guy can't bartend, and then the tenant, was actually a school teacher in Lindenhurst and squatted. So I had this guy distraught over this, and I mean, I have like literally 5 people I know personally who were devastated by New York landlord tenant laws. So it's a joke, you
It's
know?
crazy. I have my old house here that I rent out, and that's what I was so nervous about. I'm like, I just don't want to get caught up. I don't need the money. I could have sold it, and I put in the lease, and I made the guy that signed it sign right next to it. I said, hey, the second you don't pay me is the second I put it for sale. And I just had him acknowledge the fact that if he doesn't pay, I'm selling the house. Even though it probably
Smart.
wouldn't hold up anyway, I was just like, I wanted him to mentally know that, like, hey, like, you're not playing that game with me. You're gonna be somebody else's problem. And he's paid every month on time, thank God.
Yeah. I like how you had him initial right next to it. It's like, hey, by the way, I'm not joking around about this. If you
Yeah, no,
don't pay, it's done.
I was like, it was a mind thing because everywhere else you could get people out. New York, you hear the horror stories, months, years, then they go on disability, then they play the game. And I was like, you know what? It's a great investment. My mortgage is so cheap, I can make money. I was like, but I don't want to be in that situation where I'm in the red because I'm in New York.
Yeah. 100%. And what's funny is that even with in Florida, our security deposit was 250. So we were thinking it's like just some like, mom and pop landlord. He don't really know about anything going on. But it's actually because I'm going to be renting my primary residence in Tampa and then buying houses to live in, right? Because I own my primary in West Hampton. But we noticed that the security deposit was 250. So we're like, this guy just probably doesn't know what he's talking about. But in these apartments I'm looking at, and these are like nice places. This is a little cheaper down there, so you can get a nice place for like 2 grand, really nice actually.
Yeah.
And the security deposit is only 250. Why? Because if you don't pay on the 15th, they start the eviction process. Maximum amount of time you're in there without paying is 2 months, and the
Yeah.
sheriff gets you out. It's like it's quick.
Yep. And they just had that squatter law they're trying to pass down there too now. So they're not
Yeah.
playing around. I love
No,
it.
they did pass it. It's passed. I saw DeSantis. I saw it on social media. I didn't like read the litigation, but I
It
saw that
passed. All
there's
right,
no more
cool. Yeah.
squatters allowed.
That's yeah. See, that's how Pennsylvania is too. We had someone during COVID that tried to play that game, and we took him to court. And when we went to court, it was 30 days from the time they didn't pay. You signed up to go to court, and on the 45th day, you went to court. We went to court, and the judge said, "Hey, how's everybody doing?" Said he asked the guy, "Do you have a job?" The guy said, "Yes." He said, "Were you laid off at any time during the last month or two?" And the guy said, "No." And he said, "Okay, so why didn't you make pay rent?" And the guy goes, "Well, it's COVID. You know, nobody's paying rent." And he goes, "Well, those guys over there got to pay their mortgage. They didn't lose their job. You know, like you didn't lose your job, so why aren't you paying them?" And he goes, "Well, and he's like, "Yeah, you're evicted." Kicked them out right then and there.
Wow.
Yep.
Let's
Craziest thing
go.
was the guy turned around, came up to us and said, "Hey, I'll back pay you. Please don't kick me out." He paid us, went back to the building and told everyone else, and they all paid us. So
Really?
we had four people that stopped paying because of him, all paid that day.
Really?
Yeah, because they all thought, "Oh, it's COVID. We don't gotta pay. We don't gotta pay." And then as soon as they heard that the judge wasn't taking that, like the
He
judge
said,
was,
you got to pay. They're gonna actually
yeah,
kick you out.
the judge was like, "No, you're gone. Like unless you have a real excuse and it's documented, you're out." And I was like, "Oh, I love Pennsylvania." After that, I was like, "See, that's how New York should be."
100%. And not to, I mean, I'm not here laughing at like the misfortune of these tenants because I'm not. I've been that guy. I've been evicted myself when I was like 20 years old. I lived in Albany. I was a bus boy, you know what I mean? And I
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
paying. I was partying and it happened. But it's just I've seen, what people don't realize about landlords, it's not all people who own big buildings in New York City that are super wealthy with houses on the water in Southampton. It's regular people and, upper middle class people that are just, they want to provide for their families and this is their avenue. And if you're not paying, you're messing up people with families and who vote and who are mowing their lawn. You know what I mean?
Well, that's what it is. I mean, if you think about it, most people are making $100 or $200. Your mortgage by the time you're done, you're not making a lot of money. It's your retirement.
Yeah.
For me, I'm a self-employed person. That's my retirement account.
Yeah.
So I'm not making a
100%.
killing on it. I'm not. They're paying me $3,000. Most of it goes to the mortgage and the insurance and everything else. So at the end of the day, it's just a retirement account. So if it's a headache, it's not worth it.
I like that. That's a really good way to look at it too, because as self-employed people, real estate agents especially, I'm sure a lot of realtors listen to this, there is no retirement. There is no 401k, there's no nothing. But we know by being educated and financially savvy that this is actually a better play than a 401k. But if you're not doing this, you're screwed because if you're 50 years old and you're just a real estate agent or you're just an inspector or you're just whatever, you're not in the union. You have no pension. If you break your leg, you're 50. You're done. The faucet shuts off.
Done. And that's kind of where me and my partners have been like this year been focusing a lot on is the fact that we have to plan for that. You have to start it. The money has to go into either an investment, a business, real estate, because if something happens, what do we have? Nothing.
Exactly. Exactly. And I mean, we're definitely like-minded thinking in that way. So you mentioned businesses. I don't have this question written down, but out of curiosity, are you looking at businesses to invest in as well? Because I've been looking just on Instagram. I see there's like business brokers now selling like car washes and like laundromats and stuff. Have you looked into that at all?
Yeah, I look in. So I own a few different businesses. So I have a traffic control business. We do flagging, stop and
Oh,
go.
okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Actually out by you. We're all out there. We have about 100 employees. Um, we also own a dog grooming
You have
company.
100 employees?
Yeah,
Damn, Matt. Talking
yeah,
to a big boss right now. I take it back. He is the guy in the penthouse in New York City. Forget
yeah.
it. Don't pay
we
his rent. No.
I'm still broke though. Yeah, we do good in that business. We also own a dog grooming company, mobile dog grooming.
Really?
Um,
How's that doing?
amazing, amazing.
I have a husky and I have people they're so busy that they turn it down more than half the time. And some people don't even take the husky.
It's well, yeah, Husky's a big dog. So some groomers, like groomers, are a unique breed of people. We go through them like water. Um,
Yeah.
and the truth is, like, some of them don't want to cut this type of dog. Big dogs they don't want to do. But you're right. That's why the business is so good because even if someone opens up tomorrow and they're good, they're booked out within 3, 4 months, and they're not taking any more clients. So me, I'm in a franchise system. We bought all of Long Island. In 9 months, we got 6 trucks on the road and another four's coming. It's big business. It's doing really well.
I'm really interested in that.
Yeah.
So, damn. So you are way more than a real estate investor. You're a savage entrepreneur.
If I guess so, yeah.
You
If
are.
you
No, don't discount yourself. You are. So I heard you mention partners. Is there a lot of partners? Do you prefer partners? I have a partner on my deal I just did in Florida. So I'm looking for partners, private money, all that stuff. Is that kind of how you're working it?
so I have a core group of partners. So me and my basically 3 friends. We raised money together. We put our money together. We're the ones that started the traffic control company. We bought our first couple of properties together. So they're like my OG partners. And then for other deals and stuff I've done, we've raised money and we have like individual partners on certain deals. So when it comes to like the dog grooming and the franchise stuff, I have investors. More less partners, more investors. They gave me money. They are partners on paper, but I'm in control.
You're in control, and then you just give them like a percentage of the earnings, or
Eventually, we're still in
got
startup mode, but yes,
gotcha. Okay.
yeah, that was the goal. I cut them a sweetheart deal because this was the first time I raised money for a business.
Right.
So like I said, on paper, we're all partners across the board. I'm running everything, getting everything going. But as of right now, they're all going to make some pretty good money.
That's incredible. And I know that that is a factual statement just by the way Inspection Boys is run. I know you guys are probably using some kind of CRM. You
Of
guys are,
course,
yeah, like there's systems in place and you can tell with that, you know. There's a
yeah,
logo, there's uniforms, there's all, you know, you guys are doing CE classes, educating people. That's huge for getting business, you know. You're doing I get the emails. Like I could tell it's legit, you know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. I mean that's my MO. I like to look at the business or whatever we're getting involved in, and then I try to find what systems we need and the key person I need. If I'm not going to
Mm.
run it, who's the person that's going to run it, and what systems do we need to run it?
That's a golden nugget right there. That's a clip. I like that.
Yeah,
I'm writing
it
that
works.
down. I'm writing that down. So, what's been your favorite business you've been involved in? Is it the flagging because it's bringing in money? Is it real estate? Like, what is your favorite business?
See, that's a hard question. So if you're asking me if I was, so I love the dog grooming business. I've only been in the business for 9 months, and we're absolutely going to kill it. It's a
Yeah,
$1 million business. It's killing it. It's a happy business. People love their dogs.
right.
Wish I would have did it 5 years ago.
Yeah,
But it's not like a crazy money maker. Like you're not going to be a you'll make good money. Um, the flagging business, it's a big money business, but employees suck. If you have to deal with 100 union employees, it's not the business I would ever do again.
yeah. People
Um,
calling out, showing up drunk, stuff
calling
like
out
that.
exactly, getting high in the car, and then telling you how you did something wrong. Like I could tell you stories for days about
Yeah,
that.
I can imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, that's and then workers comp and who's trying to play us. Um, I love real estate. If I had to do, I mean, flipping houses or multifamily is where I would go all day.
Mm,
You know, Everyone always says it. Go big. I haven't really taken that step by myself to go real big, like 140 unit or something that you get make real money on. But that's probably where I would go, and that would be where I would spend some real time.
yeah.
Just because I like the journey. I like going there. I like turning it over. I like building it out, and then the money's there.
100%. Yeah. And I like that you said that. That's encouraging for me because that's exactly what I'm doing. I mean, I'm upending a business where I'm making good money. I mean, I'm paying a lot of money in taxes this year to qualify for stuff. I mean, but it is a blessing that I'm able, basically, I'm going from being a person who's, making a couple hundred to upending my life, moving with my fiance down to Florida and starting a brand new business, basically, in a new state.
I've done it twice, so
Let's
I'm not.
go.
Yep, I'm with you. You got my vote. Everyone else is gonna tell you don't do it. You got to do it.
Let's go. I just got the
Let's
chills,
go.
man. I appreciate you saying that.
Yo, I'm literally I've been talking about that for a while. Like you got to do it. You'll
Yeah.
regret it if you don't.
Exactly, exactly. Me and my girl, we just got engaged. Everything's going well. I mean, you should see the apartment I'm getting for $2,200. It's ridiculous. It's got a water view, pool, and the security
Oh, and
deposit is $250.
I could only imagine in Florida. I could only imagine.
It's insane. The building was built, it was done in December, so it's been a building for 4 months.
Oh, it's brand new.
It's
Oof.
brand new and it's only 10% occupied, so they're pretty much begging people to come in there. It's got the center aisle and the courts, the whole thing. And I'll tell you a quick story. So I looked at about 7 places, like 4 in St. Petersburg, and then you drive over the bridge and you go into Tampa. And I look at 3 in Tampa. I'm at my third. I'm cranky. I've been looking at apartments all day. I had my closing that day too. So I was like running around all day. The wire didn't hit. You know how that goes, right?
Oh, I know.
Yeah, exactly. And then I go to this last place and it was like, I mean, it was the nicest building I've ever been inside. And I did real estate in Manhattan too. So I've been in some nice buildings. I've been in Trump Tower. This one was nicer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Brand new wood, big wood tables, like all that fancy decorated stuff, all of it. There's like a gym, poker table, Lululemon, yoga, mirrors. It was insane, right? So I'm calling Annie. I'm like, this is the one. We're moving here, blah, blah, blah. I pull out, I see a Dick's Sporting Goods. I'm like, and there's Dick's. I like playing golf. I'm like, there's Dick's too. This can't get any better. And then I see a little bandit sign. It was like, we sell houses to real estate investors. Call us. I called them right there. They said, oh, maybe we could set a meeting for like Wednesday or Thursday. This was on a Monday. I said, what are you doing right now? He's like, well, I'm at my office. I'm like, send me the address. I'm coming over right now. I went there. You could literally see my building from his office, and they do the whole thing. They wholesale the deal. They have the realtor who will do it at a discount. They actually, when they send you the deal, they have the ARV comps. They have the scope of work
Yep.
itemized to the square footage. I mean, they do it super
Oh
legit.
yeah, I've bought a few in Florida. It's crazy. And then and the Airbnbs, they'll give you the Air DNA, they'll give you the property manager. Like they know how to run every piece of the puzzle in one. They give you everything.
How great is that? I feel like
I
that's the greatest thing.
I love it. I mean, again, it makes it a lot easier. You almost think they're
Exactly.
lying to you.
That's the one thing. That's the one thing. You got to do a little bit of your own due diligence. And in Florida, it's not like New York, where in New York you do the inspection and then you go into contract. In Florida, you go into contract, then there's an inspection period. But with
Yeah.
these wholesalers, they, at least with this one, bought my first deal off New Western. That's a wholesaling company. They're in like Houston, Philly, all these places. And this other company, I forget the name of it. I wish I could plug them. I met this guy, Jack. He was like awesome. I have an email from them somewhere. Whatever. Anyway, it was just really cool. It's just really
Yeah.
cool. You just need the money. As long as you have the money, you just buy the deal.
That's it. Yeah, and they'll keep and they find the deals. It's not like up here; they keep them coming.
100%. Yeah. And then even up here, so just so you know, I'm actually So I have systems in place where I can obviously find deals, right? I mean, I'm a listing agent. I mean, I work with buyers, but now that I have my team, I kind of outsource my buyers. I mean, I do work with buyers, but I'm really more of a listing agent, right? So I have because I have systems in place. We have email blasting systems. Like every listing inquiry we get, we keep them on a list. So if they get outbid on the first one, let's say
Yeah,
I've
you got
asked.
a CRM. You keep everyone up to date.
Exactly. You know how it goes. I just have a system, right? You have five businesses. I don't have to get into it too much. But yeah, that's pretty much it. It's really awesome. So let's talk about multifamily real estate because I know, I appreciate your time. And I mean, knowing how busy you are, you probably have like so many things to do. But so how did the first deal work? So you bought a house in Pennsylvania out of state, multifamily. How did it work? Like, what was the play? I mean, you kind of told me off camera a little bit, but walk me through that deal, what it looked like.
So there was a couple of things that happened at the same time. Um, I was actually working with a fund at one point, and we were buying big multifamily.
Oh, wow.
Um, when I left my job, um, I partnered with them, and I was going to raise money for them. And the goal was, I'll help you raise money. You teach me the game.
Mm,
And they opened up a fund. I was raising money for them. It didn't work as well as we wanted it to work. They were down south. They weren't able to keep me in the loop. I wasn't able to raise money because I didn't know what the hell they were doing.
right.
So again, it was a great learning experience, but we bought a lot of properties. The fund did amazing. Everyone made money, but I didn't learn anything.
Mm.
So me and my partners, the same people I'm partners with now,
OG partners?
my OG partners, I'm like, you know what? Let's just do something small on our own. Let's find a property and let's go. So we started looking in Pennsylvania.
Where are
We
you looking? Do you have a realtor? Are you on LoopNet? Where are you looking?
uh LoopNet Realtor. We found realtors. We actually, we didn't know where we wanted to look. We were looking for cheap spots. So we took a couple of trips upstate New York to like Buffalo,
Oh yeah.
looking at some college neighborhoods. We found some like there's a place in the Poconos like Wilkes Bar.
Yeah, I know.
Um,
I was gonna say Wilkes Barre. Okay,
and
yeah.
the agent showed up. She had two different shoes on.
Oh
I
gee.
mean, it was the ghettoest day of our lives. We'd still laugh about it. So we had a couple of days where we kind of reset. We were like, all right, never again there, never again here. And then finally we found an agent in Scranton that was just, down to earth. She was like, all right, you're an investor. This is what you want. And she took us to a property and we just fell in love. It was a three-family property. Um, it was in good condition. It was her listing. She was like, listen, I got somebody that's putting in an offer today. Um, but she was like, if you guys want it, put in an offer at this price. She was like, I like you guys more than I like them. You guys will get the deal. I'm like, all right, cool. We had cash. So it was a three family. And this is Scranton. It was like 120 grand. We put an offer in. We got the accepted offer. We bought the property. We closed in, cash deal. We closed in like 30 days. We ended up renting it out, and I think we made like 4 grand a month off of it. It was
Net?
amazing. Yeah, it was. It was
Wow.
three. It was one side was a four-bedroom, another side was a two-bedroom and a two-bedroom. And I think we got like 1,200, 1,200, and like 1,400 or something crazy. And I'm like, wow, this is amazing. So then we went and after like 5 months, we were like, let's refinance it and do it again.
Right.
So we bird it, we refinanced it. And I think the mortgage was like 600 bucks. So we were still making all the same money with a
Unreal.
property manager. And then we bought two more.
Let's
Um,
go.
we bought a two family, and then I think we bought a four family. Um, and then we ended up buying another one, and then we ended up buying a nine family.
Let's go.
And then the nine family, everything was going good, and then COVID happened.
Right.
and that kind of like threw us off our game, kind of messed everything up.
Is
COVID
that
happened. Uh, the nine family, the town started playing games with us. They kicked everybody out and they pulled some crazy stuff. Pretty much we could write a movie about what they did.
really?
We found out how corrupt the Scranton city town is. Yeah, they told us that we know you just bought the building. We understand that it's occupied. We understand that we inspected it. We understand that there were Section 8 people in it, but we forgot that in 2013 we condemned it, and we're re-condemning it today because we forgot to uncondemn it in 2013.
No.
And they kicked everybody out.
What?
Yep, middle of COVID. When you can't kick anyone out, they kicked everyone out.
Oh my God.
And then they
How does that
said,
even work? I had a house. So I lived in Albany, just so you know. So I know how about the Buffalo towns and how it goes, and probably looks a lot like Scranton. So I've had houses condemned on me before, you know?
it looks identical. Yes.
Yeah. So how do you get a place? I forget how you get a place uncondemned. I remember we had our house condemned one time.
So to get it uncondemned, you have to bring it up to today's code.
Okay. So
So
that
now for us, we
electrical
bought a
outlets.
building that was built in 1930,
Oof.
and now we have to bring it up to today's code, change, you know. And the reason they condemned it in 2013 was because it had a bathroom leak. And
Bathroom leak?
now, yeah, a leak in a bathroom, and now we have to redo the whole building. And again, I don't did being away from where you're investing has some, you know, it could have been different. I don't know if it was us not being as involved. I don't know if the property manager or if the town was really that corrupt, but it took us 2.5 years, you know, $250,000. We ended up doing windows, siding, roof, interior, electric, plumbing, water heaters. Like we literally redid everything except like the cosmetic part of the house. And then finally, a month and a half ago, we got it uncondemned. So,
Congratulations.
but
Finally.
during that time, we sold all those other properties and made money on all of them.
Okay.
So our goal was like yours. We wanted to build this portfolio of rental properties, and now we have all of them sold. So we're gonna restart.
Yeah, well, that's okay. Well, you have 9 units under your belt. That's not, what I like about you, man, is that you're actually making moves. You're making moves, you're taking risks, you're making things happen right now. So you
Yeah,
you might have sold, you sold off three, then a two, then a four, but you got nine now. And
yeah,
then now you can fix it up, maybe take the equity out, get it rented out, then you take the equity out and then go do it with another nine family. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. And that's the plan. Either we're gonna either rent it out, sell it, or refinance it. You
Don't sell
know,
this one now. No.
well, it's the problem is it's still in the
Oh
same
yeah. Oh
town,
no, we talked about that.
so
Yeah.
it's I don't know if I trust the town or not. So we'll see what happens.
Gotcha.
But
Okay.
we will do it again somewhere else because that's always the goal to get the rentals up there where that pays all of our bills and then everything else is just for fun.
Exactly. That's the play. My house, so the house that I'm renting out, I have a single family house. Excuse me, I dropped it. So my house, I'm gonna be renting out right now. It's gonna be cash flowing like if I do everything immaculately, like I have it done right now, I just sent out the lease, it should cash flow like almost 3 grand a month.
That's
Great.
huge.
One house. Well, it's 2 units in one house.
Yeah,
So that should pay pretty much my living expenses for Tampa.
yeah,
And then just get rolling like that. I mean, we'll see how it all works out. Things happen. People
yeah,
don't pay. People get, whatever happens. Something. It's not a matter of if something will happen. It's a matter of when it happens and how bad it happens. You know
yeah.
what I mean?
But it's scaling, like you said. That's my house here in Long Island. The one house pays for two houses.
That's phenomenal.
You know, so it's the same thing. If something does happen, I pay for it. You know, the water heater goes or whatever. But every month, one house pays for two. I'm building equity in two houses.
It's phenomenal.
So
Yeah.
you know,
So
that's the goal.
and when you're done, you'll have all this real estate. And the good thing about Long Island, as much as the squatting rights stink, is that values are just insane.
And that's the reason why it keeps suckering me back in
Yeah.
because the values aren't going anywhere.
Yeah. So talking about values, let's segue right into the fix and flip game because I'm getting into it right now. and I'm super interested in it. But it's a lot like being a real estate agent where it's a hamster wheel. You know what I mean? So what's been your experience with the fix and flipping? Like, how are you finding deals? How are you raising money? And what should I look out for as I'm going along?
So I don't like Long Island to fix and flip.
Really?
Um, it's just that the margins aren't there.
Right.
Like and again, I don't want to misspeak. Like I'm not a super fix and flipper. I do them like as a hobby. Something pops up, I get involved. If we got money sitting around, we'll jump into one. I'm not. It's not a business like if you're a real fix and flipper, it's a business. You have them
100%.
coming in, coming out. Like for me, it's not a business. It's like, oh, we got some money sitting around. Let's get involved. And it's just that here in Long Island, the margins are so small and the risk is too high. You know, you got a house that's $400,000. Either you're coming up with $400,000 cash or you're borrowing it. You're throwing 100 grand into it and you're selling it for 550. What are you walking away with? 20, 30 grand?
Not much. And that
Most
risk
of
is humongous, like you said.
exactly. And most of the flippers, that's the margins they're running at, but they're doing volume. If
Right.
you're doing 20, 30 of those a year, okay. But if you're only doing one here, one there, it's not that good. For
Yeah.
me, like Florida or Pennsylvania, like I have an agent in Florida, like in the Orlando area,
Okay. Yeah.
he'll get me that same type of deal with the same type of not the same margin, but the same profit where I can make 30, 40 grand, but I'm only laying out 100 grand or 150
Exactly.
grand, you know,
Exactly.
and I'd rather do that all day, because that and Pennsylvania, same thing. Like I've flipped condos in Pennsylvania for 60 grand and I walked away with 30 grand. I like
That's
that.
phenomenal.
In my mind, I always look at it like this. If I can't flip it, can I rent it?
Right.
And if I could rent it, I could play both sides of the thing and it works out. Here it kind of it's like, do I at 550 grand, is it really worth renting? And then if they get stuck in it, now, so that's why Florida and Pennsylvania are kind of where I keep looking at or where the deals come. But because of COVID and what we've been through, the deals just haven't been there like they used to be.
Yeah.
You know, I used to throw out offers in Pennsylvania, and it used to be funny because you knew the houses that were owned by banks because every 3 weeks they would drop $10,000. If they didn't sell,
So
they
that's how you knew because they would do the same exact method.
same exact thing. They list it high, and then they drop it. They list it high, then they drop it, and then every 3 weeks it would be the same thing. And I would just put the same offer in until they got close enough where they'd be like, you know what, fuck it, let's go with him.
Yeah.
And we would win offers. And I remember I say it all the time now, like the house that I have there in the community, there's probably 30 houses that I won that I chickened out on because I'm like, there's no way. Like I should have, like, I mean, I was winning houses for 20, $30,000,
Wow.
and I was scared that something was wrong, and it was just the market was good then. So me personally, I'm waiting for us to get back to like that normal, bank owned foreclosures, so I can start picking up properties again like that.
That's a good idea, I think, because they're starting to pop up now. I've been going through, I mean, even on weekends. I mean, obviously I work weekends, right? But I'll go in. I mean, I did it the other day. I went to Sound Beach, then I went to Central Islip, then I went to wherever else I went, and I'm just looking at these properties that are either bank owned or off market because I have systems, and I'll talk about that right after. For generating leads. I'm actually lead gen. But yeah, basically, I'll go to the property. I'll be okay. Acquisition's 350. We got to do a kitchen that's 30. We got to do this, that, So I'm like practicing underwriting the deals. And like you said, the margins are super small. They're
So
super
small.
small. And if you get stuck with hard money and you can't sell it or something like that, your carrying costs are huge. Like my neighbor is selling their house. The guy that it was asking 1 million. And I looked at it myself, obviously. And I knew the guy who used to live there too. And the agent texts me, he goes, James, just get me 700K. I could have definitely made money on it. I could have definitely made money on it. But here's the problem. Realistically speaking, you want to actually flip houses, you got to come up with close to a damn near $1 million. You got to play points. And the big thing for me is you got to pay the carrying costs on $700,000. is huge. Hard 12%, 11%, 700K, interest only. That's expensive, you know?
And it adds up so fast, so fast. And one thing goes wrong, the town doesn't give you your permit, or they come in and they get you. You get an extra 3 months. Boom, you lost your money.
Lost exactly. So that's why I didn't do that. I actually, if I was a multimillionaire, I would have sold my house I'm sitting in, bought that house, pimped it out, and lived back there because it's on a private road. You know, it's
Yeah,
got like
yeah,
high ceilings. It's a little smaller. I don't need the whole 5 bedroom thing. It's like hard to clean the whole thing. You know what I mean? So I would have, in a perfect world, lived back there. So whoever's buying it, I mean, they got a great deal, but it's just a matter of that's why I like the Florida market, like you said, because we picked this house up for 200. We picked it up for 200, put 50 grand into it. The ARV's 350. So we got 100 grand spread. Something goes wrong, we're not killed. And
you're
worst
not
case
killed.
scenario, we could actually, if we make it a 3 bedroom, we can Section 8 it because there's Section 8 tenants in there right now, and they're very nice people. But we can Section 8 it for 2,200 a month.
Yeah, exactly. Those are the properties I look for right there. Boom.
Yeah. I'll start
Where
sending them to you because I'm going to be down there full time, just wheeling and dealing, looking for partners on deals. I have a partner right now who we've done this deal, but I'll send them to you because I'm actively, looking. Going to be doing this full time.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, definitely keep sending them.
Yeah, I will. Okay. So,
Yeah,
yes.
I just posted it on Facebook today. My in-laws used to own a condo in Clearwater. Um,
Really?
we went
Where
there
the house
every
is.
what?
That's where the house is we bought.
Yeah, so we went there every single year for 12 years, and then in 2017 they sold it. And then I bought the house in Margaritaville in Orlando.
Amazing.
So now I go there every year. But I posted it today because the memory popped up, and I was like, damn, this is the last time we were in Clearwater. I miss it.
Yeah.
I've always looked for it, and I'll tell you, my in-laws they got hustled by a real estate agent. They bought the condo probably in the early 2000s. For like 100, 200,000, which was expensive then,
Yeah.
and they lived in it. They enjoyed it. My wife grew up going there. And when they were down there one day, they knocked on the door and they're like, we could sell this for $1 million. And her in-laws were like, $1 million, really? They didn't even do any research and figure out that it was actually worth like 1.2. They just heard
Really?
$1 million and they sold it. And when we went down there, we actually had booked a vacation to go down there, and they sold it before we went down there. So we just stayed at like the Sheraton right on the water.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, let me walk into I just did some research, and I was like, yo, how much is, and the guy told me, he was like, oh, that's like 1.2. It just sold. And the guy just flipped it. He threw a thing of paint on it and flipped it, made 200 grand.
Wow.
And he's like, yeah, that's what they do to the old people down here.
Yeah, yeah, and you got to be weary. Even my contractor down in Florida, he's a Manhattan guy, so he's got the New York accent. That's why I like him. He picks up his phone at 7 o'clock. He's
Yeah,
down
he
to
knows how
work.
to hustle.
He knows how to hustle exactly but he's like, you got to watch because these people in Florida, they're tan, they're in shape, and everybody's a salesman. So you got to watch because these people know you don't know the market perfectly. That they're vultures. You
That's
got
it. That's how they make their money. They're gonna sell you whatever they could sell you.
exactly. So interesting stuff. Okay. So we talked about when you said entrepreneur, I didn't realize how much of a serial entrepreneur you are. So you're crushing the game. You got your hand in like 50 different pots. You're flipping houses, you're raising money. Um, you got multifamily going. So I guess I'll end it with this last question. I've really enjoyed this conversation. So what's your biggest goal that you have right now? Like what are you aiming towards? It could be a 1 year goal, a 3 year goal. What are you gunning for right now?
My biggest goal right now, that's a rough one. Um, so I'm trying to declutter all of the mess that I just told you about.
Gotcha. Okay.
Like I put a lot of things in the pot, and now, the last year has been kind of crazy. You know how real estate's been. Last year wasn't the best year.
No, it wasn't.
I got a lot of moving parts, and a lot of the parts aren't making money, and a lot of the parts take a lot of time.
Right.
So this year, right now, my goal for 2024 was actually to get rid of. whatever isn't making money, whatever's taking too much time, and focus on what is. I do have a goal of 100K a month. That's my big goal for right now.
You can do that too. That can be done.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, if you think about it, it's a million, 1.2 a year.
Yeah.
It's not unattainable. But it's going to require me to focus on certain things and get rid of certain things.
Yeah. I totally hear you on that because a lot of times, you'll have your to-do list going. Like I use my calendar and it'll be like, okay, I got these 50 things I got to bang out before I even get started. But I'm like, wait, which one of these is actually going to bring money into my pocket? Or which one
Yeah,
of these is just busy work just to be working? It's like, you know better than anybody.
yeah, no, and that's what it is. And some of them, yeah, they're enjoyable, or you like, oh, you feel passionate, or like there's emotion behind it. But at some point, you got to be like, all right, you know what? I could do that later when I get the money back.
Yeah.
Like there's meetings and there's parties and all of this stuff that the industry is always doing, and I'm like, yo, none of that actually adds any value to me or my pocket. So
Yeah.
sometimes, like, this is the year when I'm like, yo, I'm gonna disappear, and I'm gonna start doing what actually adds that value to me,
I like
and then I
that.
can party.
I like that. And I always have been the guy who never wanted to go to like the I'm with Douglas Elliman in New York. It's like I never wanted to go to the Douglas Elliman events and like all this like posh stuff because I just didn't understand why am I going to network with my competition just to take an Instagram photo, which is never going to generate me business. Why don't I actually get on the phone and call for sale by owners or pre-foreclosures for 2 hours? You know what I mean?
And that was like my big thing. Like the real estate industry is big with that.
Oh, it's
Like
so much bullshit of
there's
just
so
like
many parties and network, and I'm like, yo, but none of it really equates to work. It's like being popular in high school. What does it
thousand
mean?
percent.
And I'm like, I didn't want to be popular in high school. In high school, what like I want, I don't know. It's just different goals for different people. And now I'm like, you know what? It's not my thing right now. Right now, I want to work, grind, and make that money.
I love it. I love it. And I'm going to help you make money just so you know. And I'll end it with this. So I have all these crazy lead gen systems right now between the wholesalers. I have ever heard of launch control?
No.
So launch control is basically a text blasting platform. So I take these lists from redx.com. It's got expireds. It's got, oh, I could actually probably share my screen.
Okay.
Yeah. Why don't I just share my screen? Let me show the people how I do it. Now, here's the thing. I'm happy to do that because I know none of you guys are going to take any action. So this is RedX right here, right? Pretty cool. So I got FSBO right here. I got geo leads right here, which is like you could drop a pin on any neighborhood and it'll show up. Like I could go 11 Banana Street, West Hampton Beach. I just sold a house there. Let me pull the owners and call them or text blast them. I'll get to that. So I got geo leads right here. I got expireds right here. And then boom, here's the money right here. Pre-foreclosures. And they're popping up like crazy. These are all Liz pendants. So I can take this list of people. It takes a second, but it pulls up this list. Get rid of Patchogue. So I was targeting Patchogue. Patchogue has a lot of multifamily. I like Patchogue. It's cheap. It's good value. It's probably the only place with good value, in my opinion, in Long Island. So I got pre-foreclosures right here. And like I said, it takes a second. But this is where I get like the actual leads itself, right? And then I could take the leads. It's got 702, right? So I click this, other, export. So long story short, I export them from there. And then I import them right here on launch control. And then dashboard, I just text blast them. So you see I have 6 unread message, 3 unanswered, 12 no status. And then I can just go batches, create new batch, select campaign, FSBO expired, click that, click this, FSBO, and it's got all these pre-generated things. And you see how it says, hey, first name, I am a direct investor and broker in your area / broker in your area / investor in your area, because it automatically switches everything up, which is pretty cool. So
Wow.
you can get flagged. And then you just select batch side 150, create batch, and then I just go boom. Now I'm text blasting hundreds of people.
Yeah,
Pre-foreclosure.
that's the systems and processes right there. I love it.
Hell yeah. And then this is my schedule right here. So every day I'm doing this. I got Red X right here, and then I got my Clearwater deal right here. So I'm prospecting from 10 to 12, just lead generating. And then I'll go, I got a new listing in SAG out here, and I'm doing all this stuff. You know what I mean?
I love it. I fucking love it. That's beautiful.
So we're generating leads out here, baby. So I'm going to start sending you stuff. I'm glad we did this. And a lot of people, because I love to network and I know you're about it. And now I didn't even realize how about it you really were. But that's why I like to have people just hop on the podcast because it's like one, we'll get some content. Two, we'll get some clips for the gram, some value
Yeah,
adds,
yeah,
some good stories. And then three, we get to know each other a little bit. You know what I mean?
definitely. And we still got to do a cup of coffee.
Yeah, I'm down. I'm down. Where do you live?
I live in Holtsville, right off the LIE.
Holtsville? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
I sold the house over there on First Avenue or First Street in Holtsville.
yeah. I'm right off the LIE. Like you
Okay.
could see me from the LIE.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, no, we'll definitely grab a cup of coffee. Listen, I've really enjoyed this podcast. It's actually
Me
been one of
too.
my favorite ones I've ever done. So tell him, Matt. So it's Matthew Rivera. Tell him where to find you.
I'm on Google, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. I'm on all of them. Matthew Rivera. That's it.
Matthew Rivera. So Matthew, thank you for hopping on the podcast. The real estate investor, the dog groomer, entrepreneur.
Actually, my new page, Ideas to Enterprises. Find me
Idea.
link, Ideas to Enterprises. Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook.
I love that. I'm writing that down for myself because I always take notes during these podcasts. But so ideas to enterprises, Matthew Rivera on all TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Follow him. We reconnected on Facebook. And that's it. So, all right,
That's it.
guys.
Thank
James
you.
Hogan podcast. Matthew Rivera signing off. Thank you.
Love it.